A pleasant morning to you out there. The program is the Dailies on Echo Television International, where we keep you updated with what is happening from our papers. Of course, we've had from the front page of most of the papers the meeting the president had with the service chiefs, and where they have promised that they would declare war on bandits. And also, Ribadu have said that we will see that even though the job is actually tough, but they will give their best. I am Sela Elisha Dashim, and of course I have Rachel Tanzi. Together we will be reviewing the papers. Good morning, Rachel.
Morning, Sarah.
How you doing?
I'm fine. How about you?
I'm great. Thank you so much. All right. Remember, we're live on Facebook and on YouTube. You can drop your comment or your contribution on any story that is of interest to you. And so we'll quickly go through the papers, starting with the First News newspaper.
On First News newspaper, 10 Senate minority leadership, PDP NWC to write Senate president. Expulsion in Amani floors PDP in court. 20 trapped as four-story building collapses in Abuja. Federal Government Market Association collaborate to collect VAT from 40 million Nigerians. Ogun to convert buses, motorcycles, tricycles to gas and electric August. And the big story on the paper, Ribadu opens up on Tinubu's meeting with service chiefs, what the president told us at Aso Rock Villa. Orders Ribadu's service chiefs to tackle insecurity. And on UTME fraud, I didn't forge my result, JAMB light coming from Anambra candidate. Insists I printed it from JAMB portal, Soludo sets up panel to probe alleged forgery. Woman rose policewoman, 2 children alive in Anambra. Tinubu has asked me to brother peace in Zamfara, says Yerima. Lagos Governor Sanwo-Olu reappoints Okosili as CPS, and that's all the news on First News newspaper.
On the Matrix newspaper, court notify ex-governor Inamani's explosion from PDP. You can start reading on the front page and continue on page 4. Still on the Matrix newspaper, pioneer FCT minister Adegu dies at 96. You can find that story inside the paper. And we have Anambra people accused of forging JAMB result breaks the silence. You can find detail inside the paper. Amazon wins gold at Stockholm Diamond League at the Daily Stakes. You can find more of that story on page 20. Unremitted pension defaulting employers pay 24 billion naira, with the rider for defaulting employers to be persecuted. The big story for the paper is on insecurity. Deliver Nigeria. Tinubu tax Ribadu and service chiefs, with the rider saying charges them to work as a team. There is work to be done. The tax ahead a big one, but it will be done coming from Ribadu. Criminal activities already going down coming from the National Security Agency. You can find more of that story inside the paper. A follow-up to what they said yesterday, that Nigerians should pray and support the military and other security agency. Still on the Matrix newspaper, observe sit at home in your father's village. Leave Anambra alone. Mba tells Simon Mpa. You can find that story inside the paper. And on the presidential election petition, INEC fails to open defense of Obi's petition against Tinubu. Tinubu meets with NNPC boss Mili Kyari, Shell Upstream executive. You can find detail of that story on page 13. And we have another story here, proof of ownership certificate. Federal government target 12 billion naira from the new vehicle tax. We hope to see this tax being injected into the economy. We have a picture story showing the president with the various serving chiefs during the meeting in the presidential villa yesterday. And that's all on the paper.
On the Guardian newspaper, APC crisis, governors NWC party ahead of NEC meeting. Goodwill messages from the Guardian legends. You can find the details on page 3. The big story on the paper, economy awaits Tinubu's fiscal direction as uncertainty trades foreign exchange liberalization. Commercial banks stop threatening BT/PTA orders, invisible request. You can find the details on page 8. Police warn against use of orderlies as servants. No consensus on principal officers election as Senate resumes. PEPC admits EU report CNPP backs observers mission as TMC knocks federal government and INEC. You can find the details on page 4. And at the downside of the paper at 40, the Guardian pursuit of impactful journalism remains evergreen. You can find the details on page 6 that the Guardian newspaper is celebrating 40 years. And that's all the news on the Guardian newspaper.
On the Voice of Liberty and Power stipend, handlers assures payment is still in progress. For those who are actually interested in that story, you can do well to read detail on how the payment on the N-Power is actually going on. Coming from Kano State, my property's demolition, not a Van detail mission, coming from Governor Yusuf. Ex-Finance Minister Zainab Ahmed accused of nominating self for the World Bank job. You can find detail of the story as well inside the paper. Petrol price to crash as NNPCL marketers fuel vessels set to arrive next week. The pump price of the premium motor spirit, otherwise known as petrol, is expected to crash as major oil marketers are importing large consignments. You can find detail inside the paper. Address epileptic power to improve businesses fund urges the federal government. Plot to us Adamu as APC chairman tickets as Tinubu strengthen grip on power. IPOB dismisses rumor 1 week sit at home in the southeast. And on Islamophobia, Nigeria, 56 other OIC countries condemn Quran burning in Sweden. You can find detail of that story inside the paper, and that's all on Voice of Liberty.
On New Telegraph newspaper, charges of fraud, bank refunds 3.6 billion naira to customers. Nigeria's oil production grew significantly in April and May. You can find the details on page 8. And on Senate Majority Leader uncertainty as Dume Opayemi slug it out. BVN statement of account no longer necessary for staff audit coming from Osun NLC. And on insecurity, federal government should eliminate bandits if dialogue fails. A statement coming from Yerima. Nigeria's passenger traffic seat capacity grows 60% above 2019 level. This is a report coming from IATA. You can find the details inside the paper. The big story on New Telegraph, Naira devaluation. Economists predict grave effects, says Tinubu repeating IBB's mistake. One decision will shake investors' confidence, increase national debt stock, says IMF compelled ex-leader to borrow. Currency suffered massive drop in 1986. You can find the details on page 4. President assures investors of policy consistency. Welcomes Shell's offer for more investment in oil and gas. I didn't forge my UTME result. Imensomo Ejekeme insists. You can find the details on page 6 and 26. Airlift of returning Nigerian pilgrims begin today, coming from NACOM. INEC fails to open defense against OB's petition. This is still on the ongoing tribunal. You can find the details on page 2 and 3. And on subsidy withdrawal, 26 firms licensed to import petrol coming from a source. Price can only be determined when vessels berth in Nigeria. And at the downside, we have a study, liver disease increases risks for brain health. You can find the details of that study on page 26. And that's all the news on New Telegraph.
On Daily Independent newspaper, free floating Naira rally stock market to 15-year high with the rider investors' wealth of 5.3 trillion Naira despite rising inflation and interest rate. You can find detail inside the paper. There won't be policy inconsistency under my watch, says President Tinubu. You can find detail of that. He was talking to business yesterday in the business and the presidential villa yesterday. So we hope to see when investors will come into the country and that whatever policy has been said is being consistent. The big story for Daily Independent is on the presidential election. Tribunal admits EU's final report faulting Tinubu's victory. INEC fails to open defense in Obi and Tinubu's case. You can find detail of the story on the front page and more inside the paper. Still on insecurity, we will work to get our lives back, Ribado vows. You can find that on page 29. Edo street sweepers protest 17,000 naira monthly pay, which is the sad one. We even have states where the street workers are being paid 12,000 naira. So it's a sad one. We hope this is not just for Edo State, but even as the labor is pushing for an increase of minimum wage, I think we should also consider the sweepers. You need to see the passion they come out very early in the morning. And most time it breaks my heart because we're talking about some of them are widows, some of them are very old women that come out, that sometimes even their grandkids are the one helping them to sweep the street. So you know what this results into. We hope that the government will also consider these people because they are also part of the workforce in Nigeria. So we hope to see that their own welfare will improve subsequently too. Still on Daily Independent, Anambra divorcee said police woman and 2 children ablaze. A lot of people are going through mental health. I hope we consider that in this country as well. Still on Daily Independent, court reverses ex-governor Inamani explosion from PDP. Subsidy court on inauguration day bests Tinubu's decision coming from Yerima, with the rider insists on dialogue with bandits to end menace. You can find that on page 7. Persistent NPR hikes save inflation from hitting 30.22%. You can start reading more of that story on the front page and continue reading inside. And we have the picture story showing the president together with some of the stakeholders of Shell when he was having a meeting on all that has to be done there. So you can do well to grab the paper and read detail of story that is of interest to you.
On this day newspaper, Tribunal admits EU's election observation report on presidential poll. INEC says it did not report technical glitch to Amazon. Electoral body fails to open defense in Obi's petition against Tinubu. Labour Party presidential candidate team mocks INEC. You can start with the details on the front page and continue on page 10. Naira strengthens an INE foreign exchange window. Operators rule out manipulation. You can find the details on page 8. Tinubu's 30 men, 30 days, 30 challenges. President assures investors of policy consistency, improve business climate. You can find the details on page 10. We have a picture story showing the president and his security chiefs at a meeting yesterday. We have a picture story that says Shell's courtesy visit to the president, and at the downside of the paper coming from Bloomberg, world's 500 richest people added $852 billion to their fortunes in the first half of 2023. And you can find the details on page 10, and that's all the news on this day newspaper.
On the Punch newspaper, CBN intervenes as more POS operators implement rate hike. You can find more on page 15. And on Minority Leader, PDP writes Apabio over nominations. And we have electric vehicle, NNPCL plans filling station charging ports. You can find more of that story on page 15. The big story, retired general set agenda as Tinubu meets service chief. With the rider, criminal activities going down, Tinubu pick best hand coming from Ribado. Retired generals ask service chiefs to cooperate, warn against interference. You can find more of that story on page 2. Downside of the paper, UTME top scorer's dad declares daughter innocent and demands probe. So you can find innocent demands probe. So more can be found on page 5. Single mom Lagos businessman circulate more nude pictures. You can find more of that human angle story inside the paper. Jad Bank profit rise by 300%, pays dividend. You can find more of that story on page 19. And I'm happy, the big story, looking at where we've seen our service chiefs really saying that they are up and about. Nigerians are not new to this promise coming from our service chief, but we hope something different will actually come up from all of these promises. Ribado have said they're going to give their best. The job is really a tough one ahead, but they've promised that they will give their best to make sure that anything that is needed to be done will be done. But we hope to see that other security agencies will actually support the service chiefs because they can do all of these things alone. And then we've seen that retired generals are saying that there will be no interference. So, of course, whatever intelligence they have, they can give it, but we do not want to have interference interfering with them. And maybe we should have a little change of, giving of orders. We've heard or we've seen situation where there is something that needs to be done, but they have to wait for directive, and then sometimes the directive don't come on time, and then before realize it, something goes wrong eventually. So we hope that even as they work towards that, we also see that those who are having as snitches in the army or generally in the security agency will be fished out, because most time they are the ones that actually put like say interference or actually make a delay, and then before you realize that before they get to the bandits already have an upper hand over them, because they had information, informers that gave them information before that. So we hope all of that will be taken care of, because one thing is for sure, we cannot talk about progress without talking about security, because all of this economic policy that the president is hoping to put in place, if Nigeria is not safe, investors will not want to come in to the country to invest in whatsoever. So we hope to see that more steps will be taken, and then I just wish this service chiefs all the best as they go about doing their responsibility.
Of course, Sele, we're in Nigeria and we can't wish them anything less than the best. We cannot say we won't include them in our prayer, because it is important for us to pray for Nigeria, because we are in it, and if anything goes wrong, it also affects us. However, what I want is results though, and that's what we are looking forward to seeing, results. Yes, you can say you're up on your toe, but if there are no results to what you're saying, then it means you're not doing your job. And I know that one of the statements that went under the right of the big story was that crime has gone down, but I don't think that's the truth. Don't say that yet, because there is still crime going on in the country. We know that it's normal that after killings happen in community, there is a break. It's like these bandits, these terrorists go regroup, re-strategize, and come back. What we want is not you telling us that crime has gone down, but we are looking forward to an administration where for the period of your 4 years, we don't hear that any community is being killed, is being under attack. And that is the result we are waiting. So it's too early for you to start taking kudos or hyping anything yet, because nothing has happened. Just some weeks back, barely 1 week ago, we've had communities being killed.
Yesterday, Taraba is on 24 hours curfew.
Exactly, we saw that on the paper. So it's too early for you to see something like crime, because no, it haven't. What we want as Nigerians is to wake up 1 year and there's no bloodshed anywhere. 2 years gone, 3 years gone, and we're enjoying peace like no other. No kidnapping, no churches being attacked. We see priests being abducted, church members being killed, and all of that. That is what we want. So until you have that, before you can come down and so yes, we will hope. We know that they are capable of doing this job. For sure they are. It now depends if they are ready and willing to really put in their 100% to do the job. And we are, of course, rooting for them for the best, because it is all about Nigeria. And if they do their best, we will definitely see the effect of their best, and that's just all what we hope from them, results, Sele.
Of course, so we'll give them our support, and to the public, when you see something early, so that something will be done early. We've seen that over the years, there's always maybe a tip, some stories flying on maybe social media, will be attacking social place. I just hope that we don't take all of those things for granted. Sometimes I just think it's a joke, forget, but then I always say there is no smoke without a fire. So we hope that when all of these things come to surface, we'll be able to see that our security agency take it serious. It's better you actually prepare and nothing happen than not to prepare and something happen eventually. So we hope to see that. Well, that's all on the Punch newspaper.
On Daily Sun newspaper, no 1 week sit at home in Southeast, a statement coming from IPOL. And the big story, Tinubu talks tough on security challenge, charges service chiefs to fix problem, demands synergy among them, coming from the NSA. Senate reps resume today to elect principal officers. And on UTME's call, Anambra government investigate Ejikeme's JAMB results. Court voids Nnamani's expulsion. Parties NWC senators brainstorm on minority leader. Lawal Matawale crisis, Tinubu tax Yerima to intervene. Tinubu promises business community policy sustainability. Meets Shell Global Upstream Director Yobnovich, NNPC GCEO. You can find the details on page 25. And on presidential poll, President INEC Kickers Court admits EU report in Atiku's petition. Tinubu APC open defense on Atiku today. You can find the details on page 6. At the downside, Igbo leaders set agenda for Southeast governors. You can find the details on page 6, and that's all the news on Daily Sun newspaper.
On Blueprint newspaper, railway debt servicing gulped $62.66 million amid revenue drop in the first quarter of 2023. So you can read detail on page 22. And on fuel subsidy, Ogun begins conversion of buses, motorcycles to gas and electricity. The big story jostle for principal offices heightened as Senate resumes today, with the rider Ndume Bamidele in face battle for Senate leader. Tambua Wike choice lock horns for minority leader. We're still consulting coming from the PDP. You can find detail on page 6. Stop carrying handbags for politicians or Police warn officers. You can find detail on page 7. Jigawa governor catches health workers selling free drugs. You can find detail of that story on page 7. Anambra probe fake UTME result. Ejikemes denies forging. You can find detail of that story on page 9. We will secure Nigeria, security chiefs assure Tinubu. With the rider, I expect you to deliver, says the president. Yerima urges dialogue with bandits. You can find detail on page 6. And we have on the international column, Pope Francis condemns burning of Quran in Sweden. You can find detail of that story on page 5. And I think yesterday we saw when Bishop Kuka was saying the president should actually do something about freedom of religion, regardless of what religion you belong to. You should be given the opportunity, you should have the freedom to actually express yourself. We've heard of states that you're not allowed to even have, especially Christians cannot play preaching on their car, loud music, or trying to jubilate and all of that thing. Let us see where Nigeria belongs to everybody. Nobody is more Nigerian than the other. We've seen Pope Francis is saying that, condemning the other faith, that let us not see anybody doing anything. And I keep, whenever I see a story like this, it takes my mind back. We're talking about the likes of some of our girls, the Chibok girls. It's over 9 years already, Rachel. Just like yesterday, it's 9 years. So imagine if you had a sister that was there like when she was 12. Right now, we're talking about she's about 21 years now. And then we still have Leah Sharif, who's 5 years now. And then we're still having the case of Deborah. Till date, nothing has come up. So these are just few scenarios that have happened. And then we're still yet to hear our government speaking on behalf of these people. So we hope to see something being done. The case of Leah Sharibu, the case of the remaining girls, even though we've had about 2 lately, I think was it last year or this year, beginning 2 were brought back by some of the military. So let us still see more girls coming. I know right now parents are really have given up, but then I know the hope might be very slim, but then it's still hope at the end of the day. So this is just to say about there are lots of people that are going through a lot of persecution, trials because of their faith. So let us see that the religion, regardless of what religion you practice, you should be given the opportunity to express yourself without any fear of anything whatsoever.
Of course, there's humanity, because we all came in human form first, and along the line we found our faith, we found Jesus, we found Allah, whatever it is the faith we practice. But first of all, you and I are humans, and that's the compassion we should have for each other. Therefore, there shouldn't be this kind of violence, regardless coming from anywhere, because of our faith, because it is an identity that is very important. However, we are humans, and we should have the heart of love towards one another because of our existence as it is. So it breaks my heart when I see that there is violence going on, there are killings going on, there are so many crises, chaos going on, so many killings that this is because of religious reasons and purpose. And I just hope that we will truly wake up one day and have a Nigeria where there truly is peaceful coexistence, that your religion doesn't matter, what you choose as your faith doesn't matter, and is not a threat to your livelihood or to you living long, because it feels like in some areas, if you're this religion, you're not safe. In some areas, if you're this religion, it shouldn't be like that. We should be able to have a choice of what we want to practice when it comes to religion and faith, and shouldn't be afraid that our choices will be the reason for our death. So we just look forward. It is achievable. as long as we have a government that is willing to do the job to make sure that we have a safe space called Nigeria where you can be free to be a Christian or a Muslim, and this can spread across around the world for every other person, whatever country you are or whatever region you find yourself.
Well, that's all on the Blueprint newspaper.
On Nigerian Tribune, minority parties yet to pick leaders, PDP tells Akpabio. Warns APC against meddling to opposition affair. APC NWC keeps anxious lawmakers waiting. Adamu meets governors today. Market survey, basket of tomatoes rises 200,000 naira. Many sellers suspend sale. Residents short Trademore Estate in Abuja protest plan demolition. You can find the details on page 26. The big story on Nigerian Tribune presidential election, PEPC admits EU observers mission report as APC tenders Tribune newspaper edition as evidence. INEC closes case, Tinubu to defend election victory today. You can find the details on page 16. 2 missing Sao Tome fishermen rescued in Bayelsa. Let's get our lives back, Ribadu says after security chiefs meeting with Tinubu. 9 rescued, many trapped as 4-story building collapses in Abuja. 1 dead as FCTA raises the alarm over outbreak of diphtheria disease. You can find the details on page 26. I didn't forge my UTME result. I printed the 362 score from JAM portal coming from Mesoma. And we have a writer that follows. My daughter have always come out best in her classes. Father, 3 million naira scholarship stands. EVA investigation confirms result coming from Innocent. Soludo sets up pro panel. You can find the details on page 3. And that's all the news on Nigerian Tribune.
Well, let's just take a break at this moment. Quite a lot on our papers. Promises coming from the service chiefs. We've seen on the paper recently right now, a basket of tomatoes, 100,000 naira. That is a really, really big one. You know, back was there where you could get a basket cheaper, but right now, with food crisis, this is just one out of many. So when we come back from the break, we'll open the line so you can air your views on any story that is of interest to you. Please stay tuned.
If people are engaged with happenings in their country, they will better understand where the government is going wrong.
And once they do, they are better equipped to combat the problem as well as prefer solutions.
On Nigeria Now, every Monday to Friday at 3:30 p.m., we bring you
analysis of happenings in politics,
crime,
security,
and government policies.
Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, the program is The Dailies on Echo Television, your winning station. And we've been keeping you updated with what is happening on our papers regarding the meeting the president had with the service chief. We've also seen the case of the student that was being accused of forging her JAM result, where we've seen the father said that she has been the best so far. So there was a probe by the governor of Anambra to make sure that all of this is actually rectified. A basket of tomatoes is 100,000 naira according to marketers survey. So a lot is happening. We'd love to hear what your inputs are. What are your thoughts concerning any of the story that is of interest to you? Please do remember to turn down the volume of your TV set when you call us, or you off the TV totally so we can hear you clearly here in the studio, because we are really interested, and other viewers will also love to hear what your contributions are. I still have Rachel Tanzi with me. Thanks so much, Rachel.
You're welcome, Sarah.
Yes, and I'm Stella Elisha Dasham. I think we have a comment on Facebook I would like to take coming from Adam Jeremiah, and he said, good morning. Morning to you, Jeremiah. We hope to see more comments dropping regarding stories of interest to you on the paper. Well, let us go through the next paper, and I'll be taking the Vanguard newspaper. Banks borrowing from CBN intensify, raises 140% to 10.35 trillion naira. You can find detail on page 19. NBA to sue federal government over vehicles proof of ownership fee. You can find detail of that story inside the paper. Negotiate with bandit, ex-governor Yerima urges Tinubu. And we also have on the presidential tribunal, INEC not ready to defend its case, says Labour Party lawyer. You can find more of that story inside the paper. The big story, insecurity. We will secure Nigeria, NSA assures. With the rider, work as a team and deliver, Tinubu charges security chiefs. Security chiefs won't fail Nigerians, coming from Ribado. Notes crime rate already going down. You can find detail of that on page 5. And we have on the 10th National Assembly, tension over principal officers as lawmakers resume today. You can find more inside the paper. Open defecation. Nigeria needs 3.9 million toilets annually. This is coming from UNICEF. And I'm surprised that at a time like this, 21st century, we're still talking about open defecation. And it's even sad, Rachel, because it's not even the right areas. Like even in the urban areas, we have neighborhood that you can't even pass. And we're talking about like a time like this, the rainy season, we're talking about cholera, we are talking about typhoid because of the vegetables and all of that, the water we used to wash some of our perishables, vegetables and fruits, and then people get down with cholera, diarrhea, and all sorts of illnesses. And this is even what gives birth to Lassa fever, because when the environment is dirty, definitely we have rodents running all around. So it's sad that we've seen UNICEF talking about 3.9 million toilets annually. That's what Nigeria needs at a time like this. Well, we just hope that the Minister of Health, Commissioners of Health, I keep saying, I don't know why we keep missing the good old days. Reason why I'm saying that is because you hear stories coming from our parents, or even while we're much younger, especially during sanitation, we had people who go down to the community health workers, who go down to inspect and be sure that you have a toilet in your home, or if you are a landlord, how many do you have
let
in
me
your compound?
appreciate you for the daily updates.
All right, thank you, sir. Good morning.
Hello. Yeah, we are happy that you are giving us an update regarding security, politics, and every aspect of our country. I am not comfortable with the word that the security activity is becoming low in Nigeria. It is unfortunate that they did not arrest the bandits or the Boko Haram or whatever. They let them running from one place or the other with their weapons in their possession, and they are saying that they are in control. I can't believe this. I have been hearing that the bandits are running away from Sokoto to northeastern part of from Zamfara to northeastern part of northern state. Particularly Adamawa State, there are areas where it is said that the bandits are running to these areas with their weapons and whatever thing. We don't know how sure it is. For them to say they are in control, let them arrest these bandits. Let them seize weapons from them. Let them take a major action that will lead to their seizure. You can't tell me you are in control when they are running away, they are walking freely with their guns, and they are doing any other thing. And therefore, they shouldn't feel at home that everything is okay yet. Like one of you was saying, until when we stay for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, without any attack on any community, on church, on mosques, in the markets or anywhere, before we say there is peace. So I know they are capable, the security chiefs that the Mr. President appoints are capable, but let them put more effort, let them not feel that all is well. All is not well until the government lasts long without any attack on anybody, only citizens can sleep with 2 eyes closed. So I encourage them, as competent they are, as good as the security chiefs are, let them not relax as if all is well. It is not well until when we discover it is well.
All right, thank you so much for that contribution. Of course, our health worker, our security agency, talking about security. You wanted adding up something up to what he said?
Yes, so it's just about them roaming with their weapons. I know the then president Buhari said we are free from terrorist attack because they've captured the forest and all. But what we didn't see was if these people were captured, imprisoned, and their weapons taken away from them. Now, as long as they are at large, they might not be working as a group together with more power. Yes,
we have another call. Hello, good morning.
My name is Yahya. I am calling from Kaduna.
All right, Yahya, go ahead, please.
Yes, I want to contribute to the newspaper headline that is currently going on in the television, in your Equa television. I have some contributions to make. Hello?
Yes,
Yahya, go ahead. We can hear you, please.
Okay, am I talking to the two women in the studio now?
Yes, you are, Yahya. Go ahead.
No, thank you very much. I want to speak, first of all, on security issue, the insecurity in the country. We are grateful for the change of the service chiefs because people have been calling for the service chiefs to be changed, and the new service chiefs have been installed. But I would advise them to stop talking too much and let's see action. Like the last speaker said, you will see all these bandits on motorcycles flying up and down. When they are being pursued from Niger State, they will run down to Kaduna. When they are being pursued from Kaduna, they will going up and down. There is no traffic checkpoint on the way. First of all, for security to be effective, to curb crimes or to reduce it or to eliminate it, patrol is very important. Then searching. You discover that when Buhari came in 2015, the first order he gave was for all the checkpoints to be removed from the road, which made freedom of movement, free movement of arms and ammunition and all these criminals along. And that is why you see that they can move freely from one point to the other. If they are under attack in Zamfara, they move to.
All right, thank you, Yahya, for that contribution. Yeah,
yes,
thank you.
So just to conclude that is, as long as they are at large, still with their weapons, we are not completely safe. So we just hope, based on what our caller said, that truly something will be done about it. Because if Plateau is no longer conducive for me as a bandit with my weapons, I move to the next place and I still go and do a havoc there. Once that place is no longer conducive for me, I keep moving. So indirectly, there is still these people at large. They might not be as a group working, but they will be in smaller sect doing more damage to communities and all of that.
Yes, I hope to see the security agency, guarding those routes that they use in the forest to move from one place to the other. We've had cases that when it's too hot for them in Zamfara, they move to Castina. If it's too hot in Castina, you move to Kaduna.
True.
Right? Because they know these routes more than even the villagers or even the residents over there. So we hope to see something being done about that. And then still
Jonathan said,
all right. Good morning.
Bandits are human. Let them come out. And nobody came out to represent bandits. Okay, now, is it possible to negotiate with a ghost? They say these people, we don't know them. So who is coming out to negotiate as a representative of the bandit? That's my question. To Yerima, who is saying that people should negotiate with a bandit. Now, who is representing bandit that will come out openly and say, I'm one of the bandits? Since none of them have refused to indicate himself as a bandit. And we should stop deceiving ourselves. Still deceiving ourselves. The outsiders knows what they are doing. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir, for that contribution. Thank you. All right, so we just hope, I think most of the callers are still in line with security and all of that. And, before the calls, we're looking at open defecation, which is really taking lots of life. And I think this is a collaboration, not just the Ministry of Health, but even to the Ministry of Water Resources and Environment. Because, Rachel, I think one of the problems we have open defecation is because most people do not have sufficient water to actually use the restroom properly as they should because of lack of water. We've seen where Ministry of Water Resources have, built, toilets for communities and places.
Hello?
So we hope to see more being done. I'm making emphasis on this because this is leading to the lots of health issues we are having. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning, sir. We're with you. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Yara. I'm coming from Kaduna.
All right, Mr. Yeah, you're calling back again, okay?
Yes, I was cut off. I couldn't hear your network. So now, can you hear me?
We
Yes,
can hear
we
you.
can
Go
hear
ahead.
you.
Eh?
We can hear you, Mr. Yahaya. Go ahead, please.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So
All right, I think there is a network problem, Mr. Yahaya. You could just drop your comment on our Facebook page. We'll really appreciate it. You just drop it and then we read it there. So I just hope that something will be done about that, Rachel.
True, Sele. And anytime I see news like this on the paper, this defecation have been on the papers even since last week, just that it didn't make it that much on the paper as a big story, but it keeps showing that someone somewhere is sleeping on their job, Sele. You will see in communities that this is, just as you said, even in the, it's not a rural, in fact, Sele, when you go to the rural areas, those people are cleaner than even us in the urban area.
True.
You will see them building their attached bathrooms and toilet, doing it the old school pit toilet kind of system. Exactly. You see it, and they don't even have, but you come to the urban areas because there are people trooping into the urban areas. You find that people build houses and don't build toilet facilities in those areas, because in my area there's that a lot, and it pisses me off. How would I as a landlord build a house and not make available a toilet system for the people that are coming in? And people don't mind because these houses are cheaper.
All right, let's take the score. Hello, good morning, sir.
what I want to say is just about what the ex-governor of Zamfara said, that he wants president to settle.
Hello.
That they should settle with the bandits. We, the people of Zamfara, we are not supporting it. We're not supporting it. Really, because those people, they are criminals. Even if you settle with them, they will continue killing people.
Can you reduce the volume of your TV set, sir?
People, yeah. So I want the president to please start eliminating them.
All right, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you
We
very
really know that, not just in Kaduna, but in almost
Zamfara,
or as Zamfara
yes,
State. Sorry,
yeah.
I think I'm just taking Yahaya's
Yes,
Kaduna. Sorry.
Kaduna, true.
So not just in Zamfara, but I think every other state needs the
state,
president to come through and let us have security agency doing something to secure lives and properties in these various states.
Of course, Sally. And just as we were talking about the health and safety and environment, and then we have Ministry of Environment, we have the Ministry of Health, we have Ministry for Water and all of that. So
this is an issue of insecurity in Nigeria. About negotiating with the bandits. First of all, you ask yourself, who is that bandit? Because we know here in Southeast, the Biafra agitators is being and make their what they are agitating for known for the public. Like during the Good Luck administration, it's been known. They are also bring out what they are agitating for, and most of those people, both the Biafra and the Boko Haram, Nigerians know the people that been in the head. But this very word, what did they call it, bandit? I've been hearing of bandit, but nobody has ever come that these bandits, daddy. They are reminding federal government what possibly they have forgot. They should look inward to be able to know who is sponsoring these people and who is those people. Bandit is just a word they are just saying. We have never even identified them. Until now, they have already made themselves to be known that there is something like that. Let federal government look inward. Is it the money that we borrow from the foreigners that we are going to use to negotiate with the hoodlums that we don't even know? Let them come out. When they come out publicly, unlike other groups, you know, when their aim is being known to the public, that is when we know if truly we are going to use the money we borrow from other foreigners and negotiate with them. Fine. Then coming to the INEC and the Labour Party, I think the tribunal is getting more interesting. From what I saw yesterday, it's getting more interesting. I pray Now, at the end, let INEC explain to Nigeria exactly what happened in that presidential poll. That they are saying other ones go successfully. It was the presidential that they brought, I don't know, adjective I'm going to use to qualify them. Let them interpret it to a layman understanding. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much for that contribution. Very meaningful, talking about negotiation and all of that coming from Urima. We hope to see more steps being taken.
Yes,
You were still on.
So if only the Ministry of Environment are doing their job, they are supposed to go out and be inspecting. This house was built, did it meet the standard of environment? Then it is allowed for it to be habitable. If it doesn't pass, you cancel whatever pass the landlord has until they
but they're still going ahead.
But they're still going ahead. It has to be strict, Sele, because there are people who won't abide to law, and there are people who will abide to law. Now it's left for you doing your job to be very strict and make sure they abide, because not all citizens function the same way. We have abiding citizens and non-abiding citizens to law. So you wake up and do your job. For those who are abiding, they get approved. They make their houses habitable. They put it out as for tenants. And for those not, you make sure until they follow this. But people are cutting corners, Sele. So it means we are not doing our job. So anytime I see things like this happening in a civilized country, if we will put ourselves like that, and you find out that things that are not supposed to even exist in the first place are in existence, then you just know that somebody somewhere is sleeping on his job. And we will not stop emphasizing on the fact that if people will wake up and do their job, because there are bodies that have been created for these jobs, however, they're not doing it.
Right, then we have another call. Hello, good morning. Hello. All right, I think we'll just continue with the Vanguard. So we just hope that Ministry of Health, Ministry of Environment, and the Ministry of Water Resources, everybody should wake up to their responsibility. Let me round up on the Vanguard newspaper. We have 53 years after Civil War. The Southeast need new direction. Igbo leaders of thought. You can find that story on page 11. 9 rescued 11 trapped as 4-story hotel building collapses in Abuja. Bread producers serve notice of eminent hike in price. Well, just when did we have a hike in price of bread and another? Well, we won't blame them. The high cost of, goods in the market can actually, call for that. Well, you can find detail on page 29, and that's all on the Vanguard newspaper.
On Leadership newspaper, NAS resumes suspense over principal officers hiding. You can find the details on page 16. Kaduna Abuja roadside businesses boom as hostility eases off. And we have trending: federal government rejects EU report on 2023 general elections. And on numbers, bank customers deposit 8.9 trillion naira in 2022 coming from the CBN. You can find the details on page 2. African Development Bank to fund Ipman's nationwide CNG infrastructure rollout. You can find the details on page 7. Tribunal admits EU report as exhibit in presidential election matter. You can find more details on page 7. The big story on Leadership: fake UTME results, family alleges conspiracy as JAM bans candidate for 3 years. You can find the details on page 4. But we have a writer that says fake result detected by security device, QR code coming from JAM. I didn't forge result. I'm traumatized by allegation coming from the candidate. Anambra government begins probe. DSS keeps mom. Ezekwesili seeks forensic inquiry. You can find the details on page 4. NCDC confirms 1 diphtheria dead as FCTA warns over outbreak. Tretmore residents reject planned demolition of estate. Many trapped as 4-story building collapses. In Abuja, we have the picture story showing the rubbles, and that's all the news on Leadership newspaper.
All right, let me take Nigerian News Direct as our last paper for today. Nigerian external reserve fall by $2.9 billion in the first half of 2023. FRS to commence digital collection of VAT from traders. You can find on page 2. We are ready for business. President Tinubu tells investors. You can find that on page 3. The big story: war against insecurity. We will not fail. Security service chiefs are saying, with the rider result not result only. No room for excuses, coming from President Tinubu. Tinubu made dialogue with bandits, coming from Sani Yerima. Deal with bandits according to the law, security expert. And we have retire now. You are no match for Governor Makinde or your PDP, replies Senator Folilare. You can find that on page 3. Ecobank Nigeria backs IFC Nigerian X reward for promoting gender balance. You can find that on page 2. Security operative uncover 9 illegal refineries in Bayelsa. We saw that even yesterday. You can find detail inside the paper. Port decongestion, MPA kick off overtime cargo evacuation. You can find that on page 3. And the last story on the paper, driver bites VIO officer's ear in Delta. A lot of violence is going on because of a lot of hardship people are going through. Yes. Well, that is all we can take for today. Rachel, thanks for doing this with me.
You're welcome, Sarah.
Thank you so much to our callers who called in and actually contributed meaningfully to the program. Thank you, Jeremiah, for your comment on Facebook. And thank you to the crew members, our producer, the general manager, and as well to our supporters, because we can do this without you. Until we come your way again, please do remember to live a peaceful life. Bye for now.